this guy's head coming out of a wall as a part of
Are we actually live?
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, that's good.
Oh my gosh. We are using way too much internet apparently.
You're using all the internet?
All the internets. Let's see if we're actually live on here. No, that's not what I want. Oh, come on, you. Yes, we are showing live.
What?
We are showing live.
What?
It should be working. If somebody else has a phone, they can. Testing 1, 2, 3. How is our audio?
What are we on? Can you give me that?
On YouTube.
Two views.
We are way delayed there.
Yeah, there's quite the delay. On YouTube. I got the linky link right here if you want to see it. Yeah, there's quite the delay.
Actually, you just want to send it to his phone number? Can you do
I
that?
can.
The Red Wunz Go Fasta. There we go.
Yep.
I did look at this the other day.
I don't know how to get the picture in picture.
Do it tomorrow. We'll just put your channel on repeat on the back TV.
Okay, there's picture in picture.
Right?
The Red Wunz Go Fasta. And this is live.
This is live.
Yay.
We are on the internet right now.
Hey, everybody.
Can I see you?
Right? Hi. Technical difficulties working with us here.
Send it to Peggy.
Seriously, what is the dealio? We have both cameras on and going, but it's got the same camera in that picture in picture. See what that does. Does that change anything? Give it a second to. Oh, it showed maybe a little different on here. We have different on the screen. We have different on the screen. We've done it! Success! Excellent.
You
Okay.
have done it.
Now we have the little camera there
Nice.
to do that. All right, let's get the links all thrown out there to everyone, and then we can consider this the pre-show. Oh my God.
You get the great YouTubers out there going, you just need.
Oh my God.
All the codes.
Right. So we're like, I've been logged into this thing for 3 years, and all of a sudden you want to make sure I'm me when I'm actually doing something.
Well, you're pretty sus.
You're at a new IP.
That's true.
17, all right.
17?
That's a good number.
That is a good number. We'll get bigger, trust me.
Gotta rep all the channels.
Right, yeah, you got to spam everything. Like, yo, holy cow, we got a bunch of people in there. All right, well, I guess, shoot, we better get started going then there. Make sure we get everybody here to the bottom content. That's not true. Put the merch on. Okay, what do we got? How's it going, everybody? How is the audio for you? We have a little bit of delay between what you see on the screen and what we do here. So apologies, but we're working with all brand new cameras. As you see, we have picture in picture so that we can give you close-ups of what we're talking about as we display the most amazing OG Army ever right here in Mind Taker. So, too much?
Too much.
Too much is the only way it goes. All right. Give everyone a chance to get in here, and then we'll get started for real. Got one more spot. Getting feedback that the audio is good. Already had what?
They're already asking about the Land Raider.
No.
Nice. I was going to ask you that before we went live. Do you have the Army live? When does the Army go live?
Not yet. So it will be probably in the next week or so.
Okay.
Well, you guys.
We'll
backed up.
cover
You
that
got
when we get there.
Other things going on. I thought this was.
We wanted to do
I thought this
the
was
show
it.
first.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, well, I didn't know if
Well,
you had
we'll
like the
follow
links
up.
ready to
Yeah.
go tomorrow morning or something like that.
E, did you get that out to the beer group?
I sent it out to, not the beer group, to your wife and then the gaming group, and then to Ordo. I'll send it to the beer group now.
Everyone, give everyone a chance to get on, get settled, get their red squig going.
This is the time you do your fourth opera.
Oh. It's all throat singing, actually.
Or it's hey,
Oh, wow, okay, here we go.
Where are we and why are we here?
Well, you can't start like that.
Why?
There's only one way to start.
Which is
3, 2, 1. Whoa! Welcome back to the Red Wunz Go Fasta. I am Old Big Mac. This is Breck, right?
Yep.
And we are here with Breck's OG Ork Army. And when I say original gangster, I mean it. This army is 100% old school metal, Rogue Trader, 2nd edition, Gorkamorka, absolute goodness here. And we are going to be going over all of this here at Mind Taker Miniatures. We're in the house. We're live in front of a studio audience. who might throw things at us if we get too rowdy. And then we're going to do the winners of the heavy metal contest, which we have all right here.
It's mine.
Oh, yeah, you want to look through that? We'll get you back in the fold.
All right.
Let's see. Let's catch up with the chat here, see where everyone is going, how we're doing here. Hello to everybody. Much appreciated to all of you that do not have a model in the contest and are still here anyway. That is awesome. And yes, Andrew, that is a looted Land Raider, and we will be getting to that. Is it the OG dude? Yes, models that make you jealous. There will be a lot of models here that make you jealous. There's a lot of models here that make me jealous, but all of these are going to be available through Mindtaker Miniatures in about
a week or two.
About a week
we'll
or
have
two.
it all posted up, and we'll get you the links when it's about ready, and then you can let all these fine folks know about it.
So you guys heard that here first. As soon as we have those links and the army is going to be available for purchase, we will be getting that up there to all of you. And then, is it going all at once, or is it going in lots?
I think we're going to do lots. There's just too much orkiness to contain in one army.
Right?
So
yeah.
We're gonna kind of maybe we'll do some like cult kind of sections, and we'll do some units, and there's certainly some characters. I know people are already drooling over the characters that are in there. So there'll be pieces. There'll be a little bit for everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, spread the love. That's what we're doing with the contest too. It was too much fun to just give away 3 things, so we're giving away like 15. So yeah, I definitely get the splitting it up, spreading the love, allowing some of these really amazing miniatures to go out there. But first things first, Brett, tell us a little bit about you. Who are you? Where'd you come from? What got you into Warhammer? Why orcs? And let's start there.
Let's start there. Where it all started when I was a poor child. You knew
in the Great
Green.
Green.
I actually am a native Oregonian, grown up down in the valley, and my brother actually brought me into the Warhammer. We've always been role players through high school and everything like that. As I was exiting college, we started brewing beer together. We started building armies. We started playing all of the specialist games as well as the 40K and the fantasy, and we started building. So why orcs? Well, I do believe that a lot of it had to do with Gorkamorka. Gorkamorka comes out, and it's a nice little skirmish game, just like Necromunda that you guys might be familiar with today. And it's a little bit like the Ash Wastes specifically, where there were vehicles involved and stuff like that. And they started bringing out a lot of different little unique medals. Back at that point in time, most of the orc models were pretty standard. They had kind of all singular types of armor, singular types of poses, very much in line with what was going on in fantasy at the time as well. So there were sprinklings of all sorts of different things out there that you could play with. So Gorkamorka became that kind of focus where we had vehicles and everything going on like that. As I built my Gorkamorka, of course, I just pushed right on into 40K. That was a really easy transition because you started throwing more and more things on the table. And then that's really when the collection started. So it's a matter of pulling. You'll see a couple of models that I actually had to reach back in time to grab because they weren't currently available. And then as the new stuff started to come in, I supplemented what I had with what was coming out and started building. Very much listening to your YouTube videos and stuff. You and I kind of do the same thing where we bank a bunch of stuff right off the bat, and then we slowly start building it into the crew.
You got to hoard the good bits first before you know what to do with them.
That's right. So, and the reason both my brother and I and our group of friends that got together and started playing these games, my father is actually a modeler, model railroads and big model railroad fan. So he kit bashes everything, right?
Nice.
There's nothing that he doesn't kit bash, that he doesn't build into other things. So it was very natural for me to just pick up the Orks and start working on them.
That's funny. My story is very similar. For me, it was cousins that did 40K and got me into the fold, and then friends and brother from there. But then also, the kit bashing was I started life as a scale modeler. I built planes and stuff, but mostly it was cars, and I was all about muscle cars and hot rods and things like that. So everything got cut up and tubbed and supercharged and completely tricked out. So of course, when it came to time to get into 40K, who else but the Mad Max speed freaks themselves that you could build all the really cool stuff. Now, we do need to do a little bit of history because not everybody is as graybeard as our panel here. Something like 85% of our viewers have only been into Warhammer the last 5 years. They're young little boys in a world full of grizzly old knobs and mechs and war bosses. And so we say things like Gorkamorka, and we all nod our heads and go, oh, yeah, Gorkamorka. They don't necessarily know what that is. So we try to do the right thing, teach everybody, get everybody all knowledged up so that they know moving forward what everything is, and they are steeped in the lore. So way back in the heady days of Games Workshop, when they first started with their own IP stuff, doing Warhammer Fantasy first and then later on 40K, they did have specialist game ranges. You know them today as, like you said, Necromunda, Warcry, Kill Team, Underworlds, Blood Bowl, all that kind of stuff. The specialist games have been around forever, even if the games themselves change. We were talking beforehand or earlier here in the stream about Mordheim being a really popular one. Battlefleet Gothic, of course, is my Achilles heel. I want that more than anything. What was the really old actual ship one? You guys have had a bunch of Man o' War or something like that,
Man o' War,
right? Yeah, and then there was
sailing ships,
right? Sailing ships, but Warhammer Fantasy style.
And talk about orc conversion capability,
right? That game, woof, yeah. But you need some cubic dollars to be able to do that in 2025. So one of these specialist games was Gorkamorka, and Gorkamorka was almost an accident. You could actually find really great YouTube videos out there talking with the people that actually designed and put out that box. It was a stopgap. It was a sales are low, we need something quick, dirty set of rules, throw it out there, use a bunch of what was already out there, a couple of new kits, and this is back in the day when primarily almost everything they made was a metal mini, and doing that is spin casting styles. For those of you that don't know how that works, you have this big kind of rubber disc that splits in half, and that's what your mold is, and you put a bunch of different things in there. You put the two halves together, you fill it with metal, and it spins, and it fills the metal up and everything and dries. So it was actually relatively easy to do individual sculpts and get them out there, but the production numbers you were making were kind of low, and the molds did kind of wear out over time.
The mold lines were horrible.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. So, for we think about like today, all the costs it would take to make a brand new mold for a multi-part metal kit, or a plastic kit, pardon me. The expense for that is astronomical compared to what this was back in the day. So, Gorkamorka was this stopgap game that, it was very much like Ash Wastes today. You're out in a desert, you're two roving war bands, you're fighting over resources, but it was also meant kind of RPG style, right?
Yep.
Because you're as things happen, exactly. As things happen, as you got the loot or characters did amazing things and got bigger or died, you would have to change your warband in your army to suit. It was a lot like Mordheim and stuff like that. So anyways, Gorkamorka came out. It was meant to be a one-and-done thing, and as all things Orky do, it hooked. It absolutely hooked. Everybody that played that game absolutely adored it, and it has been an absolute cult classic ever since.
It filled the gaps for us oldsters that used to play Car Wars back in the day, the old Steve Jackson Car Wars.
Right? Yeah. So, that's you're getting even way back then. So, think of like Interstate 76 or Mad Max on a tabletop, but with your favorite funny greenskins. So that's what Gorkamorka was. And a lot of people get confused these days, having not been there back in the day, and they think that just kind of everything that was second and maybe a little bit into the early 3rd edition 40K stuff was Gorkamorka. And that's absolutely not true. Gorkamorka was its own standalone line. And while yes, there were some kits that you could use in both, the vast majority of them were actually designed solely for Gorkamorka, which we are going to show you here because there is quite a bit here to go over and talk about. So that's how you came to be in 40K. It's how this army came to be. So talk to me about why choose to let it go, and then why Mindtaker?
Why Mindtaker? Well, number one, Mindtaker has done a lot for our gaming group, at least in the last 5 or 6 years. In the idea that when we've been collecting for so long, we have even armies on the shelf that we haven't actually gotten down and done anything with. So for our gaming group, which has so much available to us and things that we're not going to do, it makes sense to kind of recycle and focus on what we want to focus on today. For instance, today, my main game group from a Games Workshop perspective is focused on Necromunda. We're playing Necromunda on a fairly multiple week basis. We have 9 players in our group specifically that come in and out over the course of those 2-3 weeks, play a lot of games, and this is just an opportunity for me to kind of reset from this. These guys have been sitting around for a long time. I love them dearly. I'm very proud of them. but it's time to let them move on and actually become something different, something that I don't have.
Right.
I also have multiple fantasy armies that I have sitting on a shelf because I haven't been playing fantasy as well. So these are the things that it felt like it's time to let it go and put it out there.
Right? No, I definitely understand that. You know, when you're still an active player and there's things that you're using and playing, having stuff sitting around in a box or even a display case, if you're
sad.
not, it is sad. It is sad. They should be out there crumping and dacking all the time, and being actively used, and loved. And I mean, that's again to harken back to our contest. These are my personal things. I did get a couple of add-ons from Mindtaker.
Oh,
and cool stuff came in. Oh, are they from you?
Those are all mine, right?
Oh yeah, I'll trade you. Straight up. Guys, you're winning this instead. Right? But yeah, it's one of those things where, don't get me wrong, there are definitely certain pieces I will never get rid of, but there's definitely a lot of stuff that's like, yeah, I used this for this many years or this many editions, but I'm not using it anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's not even necessarily that it's a squad that doesn't exist anymore or anything. Like a lot of it is just, you only have so much room, right?
Yeah,
you only have so much time. You only have so much paint.
It's not even the room. I could store these things indefinitely. That's not an issue. The point is that they are something that is fun and interesting. They are, and it's clearing the way for me to do more. Right?
Yeah.
It's helping me go out there and go, the love and the energy that I put into actually building these things over time and collecting them is something that I can continue to do. It doesn't take away. This is all something that I have, and we have this even to record it, to say, yes, I did this.
Right. To document its existence.
And this is fantastic to share it with some newer gamers that may not have understood the deep history of this. You got to remember, Games Workshop has been around since the mid-'80s. They have been around for a really long time. So a lot of these things have just been floating around for some time. And I think we lose something in the newer age of printing war games, doing other things, where there are old sculpts that are absolutely beautiful that are wonderfully valid in today's games.
Absolutely. My view on the metal sculpts these days is most of my metal stuff is intermixed in my army. So you'll look at a squad, and you'll just think it's a squad, and then you go to pick all of them up, and one of them is really heavy, and you're like, what's up with this guy?
And that's the way this comes together. Is there are metals, there are metal core pieces, there are plastic core pieces. But a lot of it is it's all mixed together. It's all there.
Right.
But it's all from that same era up till I think early 2000s. Is kind of where the model range starts to peter out.
Gotcha.
In this collection.
All right.
I have more orcs at home.
Obviously, you're going to have the ones from the mid-2000s to today are still at home getting ready to WA. That should be clear to everybody. But let's talk to Eben real quick here, because we are here at Mindtaker. The whole army is here at Mindtaker, and that's how this whole thing got started. For our viewers that are not yet familiar with you, because it's been a few thousand subscribers since the last time we did something together. Who are you? What is Mindtaker? Give us the pitch so that everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, so Mindtaker really is Mindtaker Miniatures. By definition, is a store in Vancouver, Washington, but we started as really an online reseller of used goods. And it started from really our family's want to do a lot of what we're talking about here, which is taking the things that maybe you don't use and are just sitting on the shelf and turning them into new hobby items. And that kind of ballooned for us personally until it became more of a business than a side hustle. And now we really, we go through and we work with people to take their old armies, like this beautiful Ork army, and find new homes for them, sell them to other gamers, get them out into the universe. It is all about kind of recycling those. And then you can hopefully use those funds, that trade credit, all those different things to turn it into new Necromunda, new Orks, new shiny things that you can love and build and kind of continue that cycle. So it's kind of the Mindtaker dream, is just continuing to move through the hobby, and there's always new things that we can build and love and create.
Even if those new things are made of old things.
Yeah. Especially if they're things that are made of old things, right? Because where else are you going to find Necromunda medals out in the world like this? Everybody can get the brand new boys that just came out of the box from Games Workshop, but there are some sculpts that are super rare that you can't find anywhere else, and so some people don't even know they exist, but this is something that we specialize in. We identify these, we work with folks on these, and we get them back out into the universe.
All right. So for those that are not local to the Pacific Northwest here and can't come into the store, are they able to trade in pieces or armies to you from out of state?
So we actually deal with folks both locally and all over the U.S. and internationally. If you go to our website at mindtaker.org, we are always buying, always trading, always consigning Warhammer and all sorts of other games, nerdy pastimes. So, if you are looking at these Orks and you're like, oh man, I really need to get those Gorkamorka Orks, but I don't have enough right now, maybe you have some other Orks that you can trade in. So you can shoot us an email and maybe we can make a deal.
Excellent. Yeah, so, I've covered it here on the channel quite a few times, but it's always worth going over it, especially for anybody watching this that is seeing it for the first time. So Mindtaker does used minis. And it's not just Warhammer, not just Games Workshop. You do Infinity, I know for sure, Battletech.
Pretty much any mini you're going to think about, we're probably going to have at some point.
Right.
All the things come through here. I like to think that on a long enough timeline, we're going to have every mini that's been made coming through here. There's a couple I've been waiting for that I haven't seen yet, but we still haven't gotten the Metal Thunderhawk yet. But one of these days. One of these days. But
and then I will immediately loot it.
You guys do have gloves for the lead ones, right?
No, I just lick my fingers.
All right.
Yeah. That's how you keep it clean.
Yeah, that's a layer of protection.
I guess the good leaven.
All right.
Yeah. So that's the deal. You guys can buy stuff on Mindtaker. I know I've posted it on our Discord a bunch. Whenever they have like giant lots of Orks coming in, so that you guys have a chance to nab all of them, which I always get the side eye when I come in. They're like, all of our Orks sold out last night. Well, what can you do?
How'd that happen?
How did that happen? I don't know. But yeah, you can sign up for their emails. They'll send you an email once a day of all this stuff, and it's pretty cool. It's usually themed. There'll be like an RPG day, there'll be Infinity Day, there'll be a 40K day, there'll be a Specialist Games Day, which is really awesome. So that gives you an opportunity to see what's new every week. And obviously, if you're local, stop in, because not only do they have all the amazing stuff that's on the website, but they have this play place area here where you can rent a table and play a game. They host events, tournaments, and stuff all the time. And then they have the giant box of bits. I say box, table. It's a table of bits.
It's a table of bits.
It's
trough.
Trough.
the trough.
Swimming pool. It's not quite a
Yeah.
swimming pool yet.
So imagine Scrooge McDuck jumping into the pit of money, only it's bits. That's what they have here. It's a sensory table if you're the right kind of on the spectrum. All right, I'm in here a lot. Okay, but yeah, so that's where we are. That's what Mind Takers, and that's why Breck is trading in the army is to trade it in and get new stuff and move on. And again, just for clarity's sake, when people trade in, they have multiple options, right? They can sell outright for cash.
Yep.
They can trade in for store credit, and then they can also commission.
Yep, we do. So we do. So really, there's a lot of options that you have. We do outright purchase, which is probably the fastest way to do it, and then we also do trade. You can get trade credit with the store and kind of turn those old orcs into new orcs. And then we do also do consignment, which takes longer, but kind of maximizes your return on that. It's also something that we do when we're looking at kind of unique pieces that the market might be a little bit different than just a new in-box truck.
Right.
We'll often do consignment, like we're going to do with Breck on this one, and we pay you out as the items sell.
And they help you actually dice these up in appropriate lots, because one of the things, especially for some of us oldsters that have a lot of this stuff going on, it's really hard to understand. I haven't really played since 6th edition 40K. So how do you guys actually build your armies these days? I'm not sure because I haven't read the new rule book. These guys help us out with that quite a bit, and understanding what kind of actually is a good lot to sell.
Yeah. And I know that, speaking consignment specifically, that's something you guys have pretty much specialized in since the beginning, is consigning
That's really where we
very
started.
special armies. I know that you have like your Mind Taker Master Class for the really, really well done stuff, really rare pieces. I know you guys had some armor cast Tyranids in here a couple of months ago that blew my mind.
We had a Reaver Titan not that long ago. We get all sorts of the craziest big
We pushed
minis.
a couple of battle wagons through here, resin.
Oh, yeah, the old resin battle wagons,
Battle
yeah.
wagons,
Yeah, and again, for those of you that don't know what armor cast is, Forge World before Forge World. So way, 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 way back in the day, when Games Workshop was very small and did work with other companies, there was an independent company called Armorcast that did ginormous resin models. They did the original Gargants and Titans and Bio Titans and just all of that stuff, 40K scale, made out of resin. Basically what Forge World became prior to Forge World. So kind of think of like what AMG was to Mercedes-Benz back in the 80s when the Hammer came out, and not today where it's all kind of melded into one. That's what Armorcast was, and those pieces are extremely rare. Every single piece that came through here, I had never seen in person before. Yeah, and heavy. Oh yeah, you will definitely catch an assault and battery charge if you throw one of those at your opponent. They are nuts. So yeah, that is definitely some of the cool stuff that comes in. Okay, so we've done all of our background. We've talked to Breck, we've talked to Eben. Let's talk about this army in particular and start throwing some things up. This army, right? Yeah, this,
okay.
yours.
Good,
yeah.
Good. All right.
And throw some pieces out on here and do some close-ups and show people what makes this so special beyond just being old. And I want to start actually with some of the characters. So is there any particular characters you want to go over, or should I just start grabbing?
You can start grabbing. That's fine. One of the principles that actually drove the growth of the army over time is the orcs have gotten progressively bigger, as we all know, and they will continue to grow as we go into the 11th edition, correct?
Right. Absolutely. They're getting bigger.
So they're getting bigger.
You can bet your teeth on it.
So you can bet your teeth on it. You will notice actually here a progression of the knobs and the war bosses as they got bigger and bigger during the course of the 90s and into the 2000s. The war bosses, of course, are the bigger ones that I have in the collection here. And we have quite a few just regular knobs that we can sprinkle in whatever unit needs to happen. So those are the knobs there, and then the war bosses are mostly over here.
This guy is actually a knob. Let's talk about him. and here's our picture-in-picture here so that people can see, get them all lined up in there. There we go. This is Gorbag Get Stompa, right? He is the knob out of time.
Yep.
This is not the new one that came out, I want to say 2018-ish.
Sounds right.
This one is from the late 90s.
It was the late 90s, yeah, probably 98, I think.
It's the 1998 Games Day.
Yep.
knob.
Exclusive, yeah. So he is metal, even though this sculpt is the same sculpt, or very similar to the sculpt that's out now. He is metal. He's quite chunky. I really like him.
Gorgeous model.
Right? Yeah, fantastic model. And he is actually quite big compared to a lot of the knobs of the era. Actually, let's grab one.
Let's see. Where's a good knob up there? Actually, here's a Mega Armor knob to give a
That's
comparison.
not just, that's Boss Nazdrag. How
It is.
dare you?
It is.
Let's talk about him. We'll grab a War Boss to go with him. Is there a small knob around here we can grab?
Over there are my smaller ones. We do have
we can grab the
Strong Boy
exclusive
over
one there too. We'll grab him as well because there's another super rare one there. Okay, let's talk about these guys. So this is War Boss, and this War Boss is approximately the size of a modern day knob.
Yep.
If not a little smaller.
He's a little bit smaller, I think. They have quite a bit more girth, and the newer ones have quite a bit more girth in the shoulders. They're a little bit taller.
Yeah.
So,
however, the head size, and it's not necessarily that these heads are bigger. It's the bodies are smaller, so the heads are almost comical compared to everything else. But they've definitely had a variation on head sizes over the year, which we're going to show you. They were not always this big, but that was a standard War Boss, and you can see his banner there. This is Boz Nazdrag. Boz Nazdrag, I have done a whole lore video on. He is one of the bigs in Orky lore.
Yes.
And this model has not been available for decades.
Yeah, since probably the early 90s.
Right, and I want to show you, and again, this War Boss is small compared to modern day. Look at how tiny Nazdrag is compared to him. This guy is
full.
This is a mega armor, right? Yeah, this is he has a mega armor suit on. So now you guys see why this model has not been re-released and will not be re-released without a full redo of the sculpt. But he is so incredibly cool. Look at that mug. Yeah.
It very much the inspiration for my other War Boss with the custom claw. I wanted the claw very much to be a feature of what it is, and we'll bring him up in a minute.
Yeah. So he's smaller than, not even a modern boy.
Oh, yeah.
He's smaller than
He's
a plastic
He's
boy,
voices, yeah.
like the Badonkadonk Squad that originally came out in like '98.
He would be a great knob for Ard Boys crew.
If Ard Boys were still a thing. Pour one out for Ard Boys. So yeah, so there's you get an idea of just how small Nazdrag is compared to the Game Stay knob there. Now this knob, we were talking about this guy too. We think, we all know he's special. We think he is the mail-in one from White Dwarf, again, circa mid to late 90s. But yeah, he's got the iron gob on there. He is very, very cool. But again, this guy is smaller than, not even a modern boy, you know, that new monopose kit everybody hates. This guy is smaller than a multi-part boy from the 90s. So yeah, they're positively saying, I mean, this is a 25 millimeter base. And yeah, that's what we're working with here. All right, let's put some of these guys back, and we'll grab some more fun stuff here to talk about.
The big claw there.
Yeah.
Bring him in.
Yeah, so he's clearly based on the War Boss, right? I'm seeing that correctly?
He is absolutely the War Boss, and his I can't even remember what the original weapon was on the left hand. But it was something I wasn't really that interested in keeping. So I constructed a right power claw for a knob of the day. It is gigantic. It's made out of all sorts of pieces. There are all sorts of little odds and ends I built with that
To make that power
to
claw.
make that power claw.
Yeah, you could see kind of the base of the original power claw here. But then, yeah,
And then
you've
I
got
just
these
extended it out.
yeah. And then I love that you even have the hydraulic rams inside all of the fingers there. And then
It was a
the double
centerpiece for
knife.
the army, so
Yeah,
you
he's
gotta
got
put the,
presence.
You got to put the effort there.
Right.
So.
And that's the great thing about this army. It's not just that it's old school, but that so many of the pieces are conversions too from back in the day, and done in that way. Let's talk about this guy. Speaking of conversions, we're going to grab him. We're going to pull everybody's favorite up here too. We can start off with the big guns here. Okay.
Put the big mech in there.
So first of all, conversions.
Ah, yes.
This guy is not even 40K. We all know who he is.
You are absolutely correct. So, but he makes a wonderful slaver, doesn't he?
He does. So this is Warhammer Fantasy Battle. I don't even.
I can't remember.
Orc
Yeah,
Shaman.
Orc
There we go.
Shaman, yeah.
He is the Shaman. So you can see here, he still has his original left arm with the bone in it. And then you've added this power claw coming out of the bone that makes it look like he ripped a power claw arm off of an orc. And then all the skin went away, and he's
Why
still
wouldn't
just
he
walking
use it?
around with it.
Why wouldn't you use it?
Right,
All
yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
do is press the little button.
Right, yeah, press the little button, and the
what
claw
better
goes.
to handle the grots with.
Yeah, so he makes an absolutely epic minder. Yeah, and this guy is just so iconic. Him and the old miner dude,
Oh, goodness.
right? You know
Yeah.
the one I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
Yeah, Orc Prospector. That was his name. The Orc Prospector and this guy, the Shaman, were the first two sculpts to have that long orc
jaw.
face with the big jaw. They are what created what modern orcs look like. Because before this, they looked a lot more like this guy. Tell us what we got here. Because this is a pirate captain, but this is not the good Captain Badrock.
This is actually him before he was a thing.
Pre-Captain Badrock.
Yeah, there are a whole bunch of early edition orc sculpts that occurred out of the Rogue Trader era, and this is one of those. It was reprinted mid-90s, I think, and I snagged one while I had the chance to get one.
That is so awesome. Yeah, and you know, if you thought if you thought the one that was just discontinued was short, this guy's even shorter. He's like,
let's put him against
again,
normal knob.
again, this is a war boss that's small for the day. Compared to what's supposed to be a special character. It gives you an idea of just how much they have been growing over time.
The materials were expensive as well, because as they moved out of the lead era, and they built out of pewter. And pewter at the time was very expensive. And it was hard to get a hold of and hard to get right. The different ways that it would come together would make it harder to work with.
Yeah, right?
Good stuff.
All right, so let's talk about the Red Gobbo. This is the OG original Red Gobbo. He's not even painted.
He's not even painted.
He's not even painted. What happened?
Yeah. Well, he just sat there. He never had a use, so he never got paint slopped on him.
Your minders were just too good. There
They were
was
just
no
too
grots
good.
that were going to rebel in this army.
No. Yeah, he appeared in one of the special grabs. So as you practice as well, grabbing those things when you have the opportunity to grab them is pretty important, because you're only going to pay more for them tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, you know, and we hate to talk about FOMO in the modern era of Games Workshop, because so much of it is, we made this box with the new character in it, and the only way you can get the new character is the box, but if you wait 6 months, then the character comes out. That's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here are your truly limited edition items.
Unique.
So every holiday season there is a new orc sculpt. They've done 3 different Red Gobbos.
Mm-hmm.
They've done last year they had a Red Gobbo and a Age of Sigmar version the Gloomspite Gits
Oh, I missed that
on
one.
the Squig, and then they also had the Goth Rocker. So every holiday season there's one of those, and inevitably they're kind of hot when they first come out, but other than the first year, they kind of overproduced them, and they were relatively easy to grab, even some of them at a discount. And then they disappeared. And now
some of them came with White Dwarf subscriptions.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Some of the subscriptions do give you this kind of really great stuff. But nowadays, a lot of those, like the first the Red Gobbler, the one that apes this, that looks just like the sculpt but is bigger, he can sell for over $100 easily. So it's one of those things where if you want to collect these kind of things, make sure you do grab the special editions when they come out. The one that kicks me about recently was the new character from the book series. Hold on, brain's not working.
Not getting
Brutal
any help
Cunnin.
here.
Brutal Cunnin, the main character from Brutal Cunnin. Ufthak Blackhawk. So they made an Ufthak special Black Library mini. And again, Black Library minis are not limited edition. Gregor Eisenhorn is still in production here and there. You could still find him for pretty much retail. So he's not limited in that way. But he came out, and not very many people bought him, and he was actually heavily discounted for a while. And I kept screaming at everybody, you need to pick this model up, because even if you don't like Ufthak Blackhawk, even if you don't like having named characters, he makes an amazing war boss in your army.
Yes.
And you should have him because you can't get a regular war boss. And lo and behold, he's gone out of stock. They haven't done a reprint because he was so slow selling, and now they're worth a ton of money. So if a special edition comes out and it's something you actually want, make sure you grab it. If it is a regular kit, don't do the FOMO box. But if there's a regular kit out and you do want it, make sure you get it, even if you're not necessarily going to put it together right away, because you never know what you're going to end up with one day.
It's amazing how many pieces of each of the boys in and of themselves come down to that one extra piece that you had in that other kit.
Right. Or even in the same kit itself. Let's talk about these grots. That we were talking about this before the stream happened, because these are absolutely my favorite thing in the whole.
So these were meant actually as options to go on a war truck, war track. They're able to actually mount up on the war track. That's actually
you need the little sled.
No, let's get that right oriented there. And this is the standard model of this. This is a Forge World model. I saved up and I coveted these for a very long time. They were a nice conversion to the war track. So I bought two of them. I bought two of the rockets in and of themselves. And in typical Ork fashion, I only put one together as it's supposed to be built. And then I spread the wealth and build other things that look very similar with some of the parts of the other kit.
And this is the way when it comes to Orkdom, is definitely you build one, see how it goes together, and then your second one you got to build completely different. But you were telling me there's a story behind this, because this is not just a regular rocket. Tell our viewers what they're looking at here.
Again, as you can see, the actual Grot rocket has these little wings on it, etc. I did not put the wings on the second one that has the body, so it was basic. You can see the slots
it's just
where the
a
wings
missile,
actually goes, so it's a little bit of a missile. This one is actually a piece together, of course, with the fins that came off of the original. It has a shell casing from a practice range shot done by my best friend from college, who was a Portland police officer.
So this is a shell casing that came out of the breach, and you turned it into an actual Grot rocket, which is absolutely amazing. There's, of course, a whole subsector of Warhammer called Trash Hammer, which is trying to build things out of whatever you can find.
I don't build anything out of trash.
Nothing is trash. Everything is gold. And this is proof right here. That is absolutely amazing. If you didn't know what it was, if you didn't know what the conversion base was.
You'll even see this is a Grot Rigger platform that was dropping off of in Gorkamorka. It would drop off of. This serves as the launch pad. Again, everything's game. It's just a matter of having those, having that array of things and going, hey, I have something for that.
Right. All right, I see we've got the Gorkamorka guys set up. It's probably time to do that. So let's swap this out. And let's bring this over.
The war track, in and of itself, was one of the original Gorkamorka vehicle.
It was, but the war track you could actually use in 40K. Versus a lot of these are actually totally unique to Gorkamorka. So I mean, look at the style of like the punk rocker here. Who's got like these giant sleeves that he stole from a Bretonian squire or something. Like, where did they even come up with this?
So in the lore of Gorkamorka, it's actually kind of the first basis where orcs start to get a background. Where do they come from? What are they all about? How do they grow? How did they become? The whole idea of them being fungi actually came out of the Gorkamorka lore. And you'll see some of these sculpts are very weeny. They're very skinny. These are the juves, essentially, that you would have in Gorkamorka. And then the other ones are somewhere not quite knob yet. They're just your danger level.
So juveniles were an actual thing. They were a unit. So this is a smaller orc. It is not a grot. It is not a boy. It's a juve, and yeah, they're teenager orcs basically. They are actual hooligans done up in orc style. So these guys are actually quite small. Again, not quite grot size, even modern grots, but way smaller than a boy, way smaller than even an Imperial Guard Umi. These guys are kind of positively 10. What's this guy with the backpack? Is that?
Oh, that was one of my mech boys that I put out. He ended up, I got smoke launchers there on the back of him. He would go with our mech boy up front there.
He's got a lovely hammer there. We've got some original.
But he is one of those
bones.
original sculpts that you were talking about that's out of this set.
Right.
And then again, I needed a mech boy, so throw him in there.
Yeah, so this guy right here, he's shirtless. Look at how scrawny he is. This guy is smaller in stature than a Catachan 40K model. Like, honestly. But again, he's not a grot. He's an orc boy. He just hasn't quite gotten to boy size yet. So when you guys get these weedy orcs, or maybe you've got some older orcs in your army, you can think of them as juveniles and still have all these different sizes, because this is orchidom all the way back to the, like you said, the origins of a lot of the lore. This is where they started. So they've always been here. There's always been orcs of different sizes, different ages, different abilities to crump. They all got to start somewhere. It's somebody's first wah. So why not have them in your army? So yeah, those are, and again, these are all Gorkamorka guys. These were not 40K guys. And Jubes never got a 40K unit. They were never in 40K.
Well, they never got off of the origin planets or the seed planets. They never got into a Hulk. They never were catapulted across the space and time because they weren't the biggest boys.
These are your homegrown guys, never left the home world, kind of a deal. All right, let's talk about this guy. I've been staring at this guy the whole time because he's been really close to us. He's a Death Copta, but he's an orc. What in the world are we looking at here?
What am I doing here? What is happening?
What is this?
What is happening? So he is actually one of my my jetpacks.
Storm Boy.
Yeah, the Storm Boys are very specific sculpts that came out at the time, and they were very bulky. And I always loved the idea that they would jump en masse into combat. I just loved that. So I have a whole group of 20 boys here. And of course, they don't all have the same jetpack.
No.
Because that's not orky.
No.
So one of them might have just slopped something together and threw that. Here's even something that's out of an old epic piece.
Oh my goodness, look at that. So this is extra fun to me. One of the things I'm doing right now is I'm building a Death Skulls faction to my army, and the whole point is it is the offshoot of my video series. Every kit is an orc kit, and so we're literally looting all these other non-orc kits to turn them into orky things. And one of the things I'm working on is a squad of Storm Boys that none of them have the right jump pack, and I didn't want to just use a beaky jump pack and a chaos beaky jump pack. No, they are psychotic jump packs
they're
this.
Absolutely insane.
Yes. So
you'll also see that I spent the time actually building them in different poses so that they all seemed like they were doing something different. They're not quite all in sync with each other. they're dropping. Some of them are engaged. Some of them are just flying in. One of them looks like he's about to trip and fall on his face. That type of thing. All of this matters for that orc aesthetic that you kind of want to push. Is that things aren't going to necessarily go right here, and that's okay.
Right, and that was honestly for me always the best thing about orcs is that they were so random. I know people that play really serious war games hate that. I was never a serious war gamer. I was always a beer and pretzels kind of guy. This is how we were blowing off steam after work, college, family, and life, and those kind of things, was to sit down and play this silly game. And so when something silly happened, and
you laugh about it.
Yeah, right. And your shock attack gun shot itself through the warp instead of the snotling. That was funny. When you're crazed. Not the death droid, but the
grot bombs were completely insane.
Right.
The bubble chuckas.
Yes.
Back in the day.
And what better than a bubble chukka picking itself up and floating across the top, right? Those are the kind of things that I absolutely miss. That is just the right kind of zany for orcs.
And it was meant to actually be random enough that you would do really well in some games where you could really do well, but one thing goes wrong and your whole battle plan just out the window.
Falls apart. Yeah,
you're just done.
Oh, we've grabbed a new member. Thank you, Jay Hugh, for joining. Much appreciated. If any of you out there are not channel members and would like to be, it would be greatly appreciated. There's also our Patreon and, of course, our merch store where you can get your Red Squig merchandise, like the hat and the shirt and the water bottle and all the other wonderful, amazing things that we sell there. Everything you do supports the channel, supports us making videos like this, using new equipment, such as you can see we have 2 cameras going for this live stream and stuff like that, and then to do more of these giveaways. Oh, yeah, Eben was just saying we've got Gorkamorka Grots on here. So I wanted to talk about Gorkamorka was so different. It didn't even have normal bases. Look at how the Grots here are on this little oval
the
base.
Boys were even on.
Yeah, I was going to say the boys are supposed to be oval as well.
Trucks. Let's grab a truck here really quickly so that you could move. You could actually fit guys into a truck.
And this is a double truck. This isn't even the right size truck. It would end there in the real life. So one of the really cool rules about Gorkamorka was the carrying capacity of the vehicles was literally however many models you could physically put on it. But the rule was when you moved it, if anybody fell off, they were dead. So you'd have these poles and stuff and these catch nets to pile all these guys on. But that's why all the Gorkamorka stuff is originally on very tiny bases, so that you could get as many of them into the vehicles as possible.
And I use these in my army specifically as either minders or ammo jacks or other crew that you would add to whatever your vehicle was, because they don't take up a lot of space, but then they are a nice WYSIWYG way of doing things.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, very, very cool. But again, you wouldn't want to use this in 40K. The bases were different. Everything, and these guys are tiny. These are snotling size.
Yes.
In modern, and not even really modern. I would say maybe starting 3rd edition they were snotling size. But while we're talking vehicles, we can't get out of here without looking at Def Dreads, and there are 2 here. So this is the Def Dread most people know and love. This is the all-metal one. This came out in 2nd edition.
Yes.
This is modeled after the one that comes in the 2nd edition starter box that is cardboard.
Correct.
Which to this day is the only 2D official model. You could still use it in a tournament legally.
Yep.
I'm desperate to get my hands on one of those one of these
We
days.
might have a couple floating around for you, Mike.
I might trade you a tooth for it. Right now. You don't know how badly I want to show it to Tacoma Open and actually put that sucker on the board and make it happen. That is so cool. But yeah, so this is the actual... I can't explain how beefy this is.
So heavy.
This is the original. You put this thing in a sock, you can do some damage. This is solid metal. There is no hollowness in this Death Dread whatsoever, and he is an absolute monster of a unit. He's got these really cool arms, and again, you could get different ones to put on there and stuff that you could buy.
This is all prior to magnets and things. I mean, as I've moved out of this, every conversion becomes a magnet, so I can just slap things, different things on.
So I want to show people, before magnets were a thing, they actually tried to make these things interchangeable at the factory. They would often have these pin systems to them, and then what you could do is you could actually, back in the day, it was really fun. You could get this ginormous catalog, like the size of a phone book. For those of you that don't know what a phone book is, go ask your parents. But they were the size of a phone book from back in the day. But it was full of everything Games Workshop made.
Yeah,
40K, Fantasy, Epic,
piece.
War Master, whatever. And there would be every single individual bit had a part number. And you could actually order those individual bits. I mean, could you imagine being able to order pieces of the plastic kits these days? Oh, I need 3 left arms and 2 heads.
I mean, I would love even just to get a sprue set.
Right. Oh my
right?
God. Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
I would.
Huge. Yeah. I would love to see that come back. I would absolutely buy individual sprues, even like that. But back when most of the stuff was metal, being able to buy each individual piece was so cool for kit bashers. And White Dwarf they'd publish articles with people's kit bashes. They'd give you the list of part numbers. They'd be like, oh, well, the body was this, and the head was this, and the left arm was that. And you could just put in your order form right there for the mail order shop and put them all together. But yeah, so a lot of the kits, they would have the same kind of pin setup so that you could put your weapons in and out without needing magnets or anything like that. And they were actually designed that way. But what I really wanted to talk about here is this guy. Because I have not seen one of these in person ever. What is this?
That is the original Death Dread model. It was based on that cardboard piece, and it was the original piece that came out to replace it. It was the first major vehicle sculpt I think they did in the 90s.
Yeah, so...
And it is beefy as well.
It is beefy as well.
The size
it's surprisingly beefy. This is like the size of a modern Killacan. So this pot right here is basically the size of one of the paint pots. Yeah, this is a metal one, but they're substantially similar to the modern plastic ones. That gives you an idea here. This is, like you said, one of the original vehicles that GW ever made for 40K. And so there was kind of the OG Rhino was the first big plastic one.
And I had to, even in the mid-90s, I had to hunt for that guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, this guy was out of print by the mid-90s. This guy is early 90s. Because I remember this guy being out. And you could go and buy him. And he, even though he was metal, he wasn't on a blister. He was in a box that had a little styrofoam bucket in it and whatnot. This guy was already super rare in the mid-90s.
And I never actually deployed them and used them unless I needed another can or another dread that I was going to put out. We weren't vehicle heavy in the time that we were playing the 10 years there from 95 to 2005. It wasn't a huge vehicle heavy type of an army.
Right. Well, there is one vehicle here that we've had multiple comments on, so we should probably give the people what they want.
Oh, it's the land speeder, right?
Yes, the land speeder. Let's all go look at the land speeder.
Yeah, it's the land speeder, right? Everybody wants to know about the land speeder.
So this is a 3rd edition launch box land speeder turned into a buggy. This buggy is actually really cool. I would totally add this to my army.
There is a story here with that. You'll notice that it's crashed.
Of course it
and
is.
It's very crashed on one side, like it fell out of the sky. And of course, it doesn't. The repulsors don't work anymore.
Oh no!
So you just put wheels on it and you paint it red, and it goes.
I love that, like, even the little probe here on the nose is like bent back, and you've got all the scrapes on the side there and gouges cut out of that fin. Yeah, I adore that conversion. If you could put me on the pre-order list for that one.
I got you.
Right?
I had a blast building that one. Oh, the Land Raider. That's
Oh,
what you
there we
guys
go. Yeah.
wanted. Oh, I get it.
Right,
I get it.
right. Yeah,
Let's
you want to
bring
grab.
him-
There we
let's
go.
bring him up here. All right. Now,
And of course, the Land Raider and Land Scooter was infamously named for Arkham Land, and not the fact that they go over land. Right.
so originally in the rule sets and things, they could absolutely have a looted vehicle. And, of course, I always coveted having a Land Raider myself because I didn't play Space Marines, but there's this big Herkin tank.
Right,
and
who doesn't want a Land Raider,
Land Raider, right? So there's a lot of wishing and hoping and wanting as far as that's concerned. So about the same time, they started coming out with looted vehicles as well, and my little brain goes, I could do something that serves both purposes. It could be a battle wagon in and of itself, or it could be a looted Land Raider. So it was fun to actually build it out of this. I actually modeled it on a Black Templar configuration of a Land Raider.
So it's a Land Raider Crusader even.
Correct. And you'll actually see the little crossed out cross in there. And the reason I painted it very modeled and everything was the idea that it used to be black, and they're trying to paint it their army color,
right?
And then they've got to have some red on it.
Of course they do. And you were showing me this earlier. I love this about it. The def roller here, which is partially metal. This thing's got some heft to it.
Yeah, this is an extended armor plate that came in a couple of different. I can't
looks
remember
like for
what
the Rhino and the Vindicator.
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
Kind of thing. Yep.
So I actually have a conversion in case I didn't want def roller. And this is a conversion in and of itself.
Right, and that's the side panels. It would have gone like that on a Rhino.
Correct.
Yeah,
and there's two of them
getting
slopped together with a symbol on it.
Right.
This guy also has. You'll notice we have a lot of these Grot Riga
the boarding
panels.
ramps. Yeah.
Yep. We've got a lot of different pieces out of this, and of course a spindle for thread that you might want to throw in there. I mean, you use
such a
what
perfect
you
shot.
got.
Yeah. Again, trash hammer, but nothing is actually trash. Oh no, we need some.
Did you
super
break
glue.
something?
I
can't
break
believe
everything.
it.
Have you seen my own? I dropped my Stampa in here. Well, his arm keeps falling off. So every time we bring him, I can't glue the arm back on.
So other pieces of this, I basically put I love the idea of having them bust. They've busted this thing up so much that there's really no way to hold it in anymore.
Right.
So you basically have stuff slapped on top of it. I've got grot riggers running all over it and poking out. And then I even had the capability of swapping out my main turret weapon as well.
Oh my goodness. And this turret is just so good. The gunner on here. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And you can see the little driver is underneath there.
I don't know if you noticed, but those are teeth, right?
That's awesome.
I mean, it looks like an orc.
It does look like an orc. Even as an old school Black Templar player, I started Black Templars in 3rd before they were Assault Army. They were just a paint job on the Codex cover.
And when you guys are looking at converting stuff, little details like punching in the caps and things like that, it really does give it a nice rough look to it. Even though, I mean, you look at most of this stuff, it's all intact. There's nothing broken about it,
right?
Except for those little details. I punched through the little vent here. I offset those a little bit. That's all it takes.
Right. We've talked about that a lot on the conversion videos. Is those little details are what make a conversion, that sell it in the setting. This is truly a Land Raider that got looted by orcs. and also the intentionality behind it. You're not just slapping stuff together. So, like, I want to point out, you've got the door here. These doors are separate on the model. Like, you can see this one right here is missing completely. Like, move the gunner here out of the way so you can see.
Him out of there.
That door's missing completely. You took this door, and before gluing it in, cut all of the edges out of it and made it look like it was cut open with a plasma torch, and then perfectly glued it in place. And look, the inside doors are all kind of cockeyed, like they've been forced open. Again, the real pieces are there. If you know what a Land Raider is, you see it immediately. But the intentionality behind that is what makes this such an amazing conversion.
The grot foot is good too.
Yeah, you gotta love the grot hanging down from the inside there, trying to fix it. The screen there in the back is smashed. You guys see the radar screen back there is actually smashed.
Yeah, I had to score that before I actually put the model together.
Right? Yeah, two things you got to think about before you even get there. So yeah, so that is the looted Land Raider.
Are there any questions specifically, since that is kind of a centerpiece thing?
Right. Yeah, so guys in the chat, if you have any questions for Breck, any of these models you want to see, type them in now so that we can do those and make sure that we get everybody's questions answered and all the models looked up close that everybody wants to see. And while you guys are typing that, we can go ahead and start drawing for our winners of our heavy metal contest. So let me get that going up here. So for those of you watching that are unfamiliar with the contest, what it was for May, June, and July, you had to paint a metal mini. It didn't even have to be Games Workshop. It didn't have to be an Ork. But the whole idea was to get, because again, 85% of you have only been into Warhammer for about 5 years or less, you guys have never come across metal minis before. So getting people to go out and buy metal minis, or find metal minis, and actually paint one for the first time was a whole ton of fun. And a few of you painted multiples. I just kept going with it, which was super duper awesome. But we had 141 total entries. Of those, there were 57 people who entered the contest. That's not just minis. Wow. 57 people went out and got a metal mini and posted a before and after of their mini. We also had, of course, our 25 patrons all got entered, as well as our channel members. And then we had 42 unique orders on the merch store. So everything that you bought on the merch store, every single item, got you an entry as well. And we had 42 different people. I forgot to put down how many countries, but it's an insane number of countries. It's like more than a dozen that we ship stuff to. So that is where we are. So we are going to get a random number generator going up here for between 1 and 141 to start pulling winners here, because I don't want to do contests where people feel like they have to paint really, really well. All of us are in different spots in our journeys. All of us have different standards that we're painting for. It was all about the fun of it, getting paint on a model, enjoying having that model. So everybody that got any kind of paint on there whatsoever got entered. So that's where we are with that. So I've got all of these things here like that, and we got some things to give away. So first things first, we'll do the first one here, number 44. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doug White. So Doug, you have won yourself some Chaos Havocs. So we'll get those out to you. You know what? I should steal a pen from somewhere so we can write these down. So I don't have to rewatch this. Thank you. I mean, come on. You think I'm actually organized? I'm an orc in real life. Doug.
I'll see if he leads screen.
Okay. Next, we've got a Pain Boy. Generating number 3. Do it for Dale. Junas or Hunas Iovin. You won the Pain Boy. Oh, I got to put it on the actual camera. I'm an idiot. So you've got the Pain Boy coming at you. All right. Crimson, what was Spikies? Yes, the first winner was the Chaos Havocs. They are spiky boys. There are 3 of them in there, so they are like a Devastator squad, but for Chaos Space Marines from back in the. I should probably just put them right back in the box, right? That'd be easier.
I got you.
All right. Next is going to be the knob with WA banner, and again, this is a conversion knob with WA banner. This is not the original one, but it's a whole bunch of really cool bits that go together to make one that is super duper rad. And we got us number 38. Derek Greenhorn. So Derek, you've won the knob with WA banner. Alright, next we got a squad of knobs. There are 5 of these guys in here. They are unique. I don't have metal arms for all of them, but the ones that are missing metal arms do have plastic arms in there, but a very cool squad of knobs. Hefty when you get a whole squad of 5 of them together. 85. 81, 2, 3, 4, 5. Talon, 1958. You got the knobs, my friend. And I want to do a special shout out to the people that entered more than one model and kept going after it. There was somebody in particular that started doing old school Necrons and kept finding them and like adding, and so it went from one Necron to a whole squad of Necrons. And I love the OG Necron aesthetic. They are so like Battlestar Galactica cool. So that was a whole lot of fun to see. All right, next is the Def Dread arms. These are a bunch of arms from Def Dreads and Killicans and other pieces like that, so that you can, hey look, there's those pin things we talked about earlier. So you could buy the Def Dread from this lot, and then you'd have all the other arms. HR Welch asks, is there a list of winners on the Discord? Yes, I will put the whole list of winners on the Discord after all of this, so that everybody can see it. And then obviously I'll be trying to get with you to get your addresses. Unless you're one of the people that ordered something, then I already know where you live. So yeah, let's do this for the parts. Number 45. Jeremiah Johnson. Jeremiah, you won the bits. Get those in there. All right, next we've got a Ork War Boss. Now this guy is very cool. This is not the War Boss that you saw here. This is the War Boss that came after that. He's supposed to have the attack squig on his arm. That attack squig is missing, so you'll see that there is an extra old school squiggy in there for you to use as the attack squig, who is also metal, which is very cool. And so the War Boss goes to number 110, Orwolf. Orwolf, you won the War Boss. All right, we've got a knob in Mega Armor, and this is the modern chunky Mega Armor. This is not the OG small Terminator Mega Armor. So the knob in Mega Armor goes to number 131, Crimson Chain Mega Knob. Let's see if I can spell Mega Knob. Crimson Chain, you won the Mega Knob. All right, we're getting down to the last couple things here. We've got the Dig-a-Knob.
Nice. That's a good one.
So the Dig-a-Knob is going to go to number 114. Alanuki, you have won the Dig-a-Knob. Congratulations on that one. All right, got to do these in our order there. Okay, now we've got the squigs. So it's Slimer's squig and the Bad Moon Smiley squig. Yeah, you should take a look at those.
Oh yeah,
you did not have those.
I do have multiples
of those in the Fantasy Battle Army. Let's see who gets those. Number 101, Storm Boy.
I can see that. Yeah.
Storm Boy has won the squiggies. All right, on to Abaddon. Abaddon, the Despoiler, with the claw and a sword and all that, is going to go to number 69. Nice. Joris Wynn. Joris, you have won Abaddon. Okay, final 3. We've got Tank Busters. This is the original entire squad, all 5 of them, plus the 2 bomb squigs.
We do have some reps of those.
We do have some up there, yeah. This is going to go to number 59, Shiloh Gwynn. Shiloh, you won the Tank Busters. All right. Now, the last 2 that everybody is wanting. There's the Def Copta. This is the OG double rotor Def Copta. That is going to go to number 125. Seal of Tired. You won the Def Copta. You gotta love when it's right. When the only thing I have are their Discord names. So Seal of Tired, you have won the Def Copta. Calvin, I won. Me again. All right, and last, the grand prize, if you consider that, the original Gazgul and Makari. Yes, indeed. Both of them are in there, ready to lead your old school WA. Goes to number 62. Ryan Pauly. Ryan, you have won Gaz. So that is all of our winners. I will be posting the list of winners and getting everybody's addresses. I am also going to say that you guys are going to be getting a copy of the Goth Rockers Orksmatron live from Dubuque. So 5 random of you are going to get a Goth Rockers album with your victory here, with your winnings, with your prizes. So yeah, there you go. Going to win some DeGoff Rockers merch. Those of you that haven't won this, go listen to DeGoff Rockers. Put them on your Spotify. Send our boys some love. They are a real deal metal band that happens to be very into orcs, and they, of course, did our theme song. Very, very cool group of guys. They get kicked out of a con every year for trashing the hotel. There's also one of you is going to get the poster here. And that is, again, Dead Shitty Productions. You can find them on Spotify, iMusic, YouTube, all of that good stuff. Go look up the Goth Rockers. There's also going to be a garrote pin going to one of you and a sticker. So, yeah, a few of you are going to be getting some extra lucky Goth Rocker bits in your winnings. All right, so that concludes our heavy metal contest. Those of you that missed it, make sure you stay tuned. We will be doing another contest. Actually, in September, we're gonna. These contests have gotten so big now with 141 entrants. It was actually really hard to keep track of everything going on. So we're gonna shorten these down to one a month. So come Squigtember, there's going to be a very squiggy based contest. So let that be a hint to all of you that want to prepare early. That's where we're going to be going next. But yeah, that is the. That is what's going to be coming up next. And then, of course, after that becomes Orktober. And that's when Old Big Mac gets extra loony and slams way too many red squigs. And we do a video every single day of the month. And it's all killer, no filler. And it is an absolute riot. So you may have noticed a little bit of a slowdown beforehand as I start building videos up and building up things that I'm working on so that we can blast all of that content come Orktober, which I'm sure you guys are all going to be on board for. So, let's see, do we have any questions left in the chat here?
Evan, you have queued
Evan.
us up some big guns to talk about. What was the question?
We've got Encore.
For big guns.
Encore.
Bikes.
Yes, that was from Calvin Ryder. Calvin wants to know bikes and Met guns. So,
these are the original, actually, big guns. Well, not original. The original ones were way bloopier. I don't know how else to say it. This was in the era of more constructed Met guns. We got a zap gun, a cannon, a lava, and a zap gun. And you'll notice the zap gun is the featured one on the Land Raider. And these represent the old metal big guns. I wanted to collect them when
we got a zap gun.
There you go. You got a zap gun right
with
there
the
on
Death
the
Dread
Death
part. So whoever won that, you are getting yourself one of those.
Supplement big guns. I actually took a Basilisk cannon, actually shortened the barrel a bit, and I actually am loading another fire in there.
Oh yeah, another fired shell piece. Yeah, look at that.
That was I do have a side piece that goes with that that's floating around here somewhere.
Oh, that is awesome.
And then we do have a. You breaking
I know.
Can't take you anywhere.
No, you can't.
Then we have another lava cannon, which is basically a mortar.
Oh my god, it's so heavy.
That's a full metal piece, and it's meant to go on the tracks so they could move around.
Yeah, because the war tracks, you could put pieces in the back of them. In fact, famously, there was the one that had the Scorcha on it, and it would tow a trailer with
I
extra
have one of
promethium
those,
in
as
it.
a matter of fact, out here on this table.
Do you now?
Yeah. it's
Oh yeah, there it is.
So
there it is.
So there's your.
We were just
mortar.
talking about that. So this is the War Track base kit with the Scorcha, and so all these Scorcha pieces are metal, and
that's
you've
a
got the
heavy
turret.
Scorcher, if I'm not mistaken.
You are not, and then it has the trailer again full of extra promethium, which is extra fun when you shot backwards and used a template and then blew it up.
That's crazy.
Hey, you know what? Whatever it takes to win a game. But yeah, let's bring a regular. Oh, you had a War Track over there. Yeah,
Got them all.
yeah.
all
So
set up.
this is your War Track, how it would come normally by itself, and then you had this great little truck bed in it, and you could get these pieces like the lava in there,
And
to have them do different
that's
things.
actually what I built the rockets to
Right.
go ahead and be carted
to
around
go
as
in
well.
there. Yeah, and that is just so cool. And yeah, these were multi-part. Like I said, the originals were kind of blobs. They were like
Yeah, they
one or
had
two
the
pieces.
bubble chucko was gigantic, and they didn't have the bubble chucko in this, but they kind of reduced them down. They were kind of in a nice array of things. Some with the 5-inch template, some with the 3-inch template. They were very specific in the different.
For
ways
those of you
they
that
would
don't
do it.
know, back in the day, you used to use templates on some of the weapons in Warhammer, especially in 40K. There was a flamer template that was this big kind of fireball that would start off on the end of your Scorch or your flamer, and everything that it touched was hit.
Did I show my age?
No, they're just they're youths, okay? They're youths watching. Not everybody is a grizzled old
They haven't
veteran.
got all their teeth in.
Right, yeah, not everybody's teeth have come in, so we're trying to learn them because that's what you do as an old minder. But yeah, and then there was a small, a large, and then later on there was this giant epic template for the pieces with the indirect fire. And the indirect fire used to be really cool. You never missed. You would launch this mortar, and you would say, some of them you would say where it's going to go.
Yep.
You put it there,
put
and
it
then
there,
you'd roll
and then
scatter
you scatter
dice.
it.
Yeah. So you'd roll this dice, and one would have an arrow on it and would go that direction, or a hit, and it would stay still, and then your D6 would be how many inches. Others you guessed, like literally guessed. You wouldn't measure, you would go 13 inches, and then you'd put it out there and see what happened. But the great thing about it was, especially for orcs, because of course we're notoriously bad at shooting. Well, not bad at shooting, we're bad at hitting things. There's a difference. You would take a ton of these things and just lob them at the enemy because you didn't care where if it went off target.
Oh,
because you had another one.
It hit my grots.
Oh, what do you do? Right? Yeah, we don't care. There's more grots where those came from, right? So being able to actually hit things with your indirect fire was amazing. And that's where a lot of the original, more DACA for orcs came from on the tabletop to go with that lore.
Yep.
Okay, and then we had bikes
The
we wanted to look
bikers.
at.
These are the old plastic bikers. The first bikers that actually came out. They're a pretty basic kit. They all had boss poles on the back. There's a boss pole there. But this is pretty much the standard.
Yeah, that's your standard loadout. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, let's see. I got a couple of guys here. Oh, there's the original biker guy on here.
Yeah,
I
that's
of course
the
have
rider.
to chop off the little spiky bit on them to make them different.
Right.
So they're all different, and then I've got some of the Gorkamorka metal extensions on some of these guys as well. But I had to vary it up by shortening the chains on the big guns on the bikes.
Yeah, because they stuck out so far with all the ammo on there.
Over under to kind of emphasize that they're all custom. At the time,
I like
they were
the
all
over
those
under.
basic bikes, so you kind of mixed it up over time.
The over-under is really fun. I like that one.
I've got one that's over too,
No, nice.
and I've got one that's over on the other side. you gotta mix it up.
Yeah, you got to mix it up because no two bikes are going to be the same. No two riders are going to be the same, and that's actually one of the things I love about the modern bike kit is that it is fully
customizable.
interchangeable right out of the box, and then also the rider bodies. And heads and all that,
Totally,
right?
yeah.
So
these were so fiddly to try to get somebody on the bike.
well, the rider
appropriately.
is so small. This rider is literally the size of a modern day grot.
Yeah.
They are very, very tiny. And yeah, the legs only work on the bikes, and the torsos and arms can only work on the bikes unless you have these very, very rare Gorkamorka pieces to do them up. There's not a whole lot you can do with the rider.
Actually,
because the head is molded into the body. And again, this is back before they got the heads actually to what everybody knows what an orc looks like.
Yep. Yeah, again, this is all early version stuff that they were kind of feeling their way out from the orcs and trying to figure out what they were, and the modern aesthetic comes out of all of that over time.
Right.
And it's a gorgeous amount of a difference in all of these things.
That's I think a big draw to orcs for so many people is that it is so different. There is kind of no wrong way to do orcs. If you want to be really militant and tactical and have a bunch of camo on your guys and be regimented, you can. If you want to loot everything, you can. If you want nothing but buggies, you can. Yeah. There is no wrong way to paint the skin. There is no wrong way to do the armor. And that freedom to not only do that, but have that be lore accurate and tabletop accurate and not just accepted but celebrated, I think is what draws so many people to orcs in particular.
Why would you ever build the kit the way it was meant?
Well, right? Box stock is for weebs. All right, guys, we've been going at it hard now for almost 2 hours.
Holy moly.
Right? Time flies when you're having fun. Do we have any last questions here in the chat? Any last things we want to show the good people? Any favorites that we've missed?
Let's pull some of the just one of each of the heavy. There's Berna's over there, and we got big shooters somewhere as well. These are the old metal ones. Did you get a big shooter somewhere? Oh, I don't think they're out on the table. How crazy is that? So there are a mixture of Burna Boys, the old metal Burna Boys, and the rocket launches, as well as the big shooters. I think there are 6 big shooters in the collection. But these are old metals. They were the first kind of specialized weapons that were pushed out to the boys' box sets. You would mix them in with your boys to give an extra close combat punch or an extra long distance punch with the rockets, etc. So these were fun little.
These started in 3rd.
Yep.
And they were in the blister packs, and and all of the armies were like this. You would buy your basic squad most of the armies would be plastic. Some were metal,
both plastic.
But your basic squad would just be literally the basic squad. You might have the leader in there, but then like your Imperial Guard squad would be all lasguns. Your orcs would be all choppas and sluggas. And then if you wanted to add in any of the special weapons, you would buy a blister pack of the special weapons, and there'd be. A lot of the Space Marines were in 1 packs or 2 packs. The orcs were like 2, 3, or 4, depending on what it was. But yeah, you would get these guys, and then you could scatter these throughout your units, your big mobs and boys.
You hid them in the numbers. You would drop 20 boys out, and then you'd have your special weapons, and you could pull your boys out as casualties and leave the heavy weapons.
And the great part about that is way back in the day when leadership actually meant something. If your orcs failed a test, which first of all it was really hard to fail a test, because orc test was they would count the boys left, and if they couldn't count that high, they were fine. Literally, 1, 2, 3, 12. They can't count past 12. That was that. They just kept going. But once they got under that, if your leadership roll fell below the number, what they could do is they could mob up with other boys. So you might have 7 boys left, right, which could include 2 or 3 of these guys. And then they'd go, oh, but that squad right there's still 20 boys, and they would go join it. And now you've got a 27-boy squad that's got 6 heavy shooters in it, and you're like, where did that come from? How did that happen? That's how it happened. That was good times. And these models, I still have these in my army. These guys hold up. They are just about the modern size still, especially when you put them on a 32 millimeter base. Yeah, very beefy. These were some of the original, I think, sculpts that kind of created what the Ork look is today, the aesthetic. And yeah, they definitely hold up. I have these guys mixed in all of my squads. Absolutely love all of those. Yeah, amazing pieces.
Any other requests?
All right. Speak now or forever hold your peace, chat, because this army, when it gets posted, which again, we will bring you the link to Mindtaker as soon as it is out. But when they are posted, these will be in lots. You'll have the ability to buy these guys, buy some of these units, buy these vehicles. The whole army will be listed out piecemeal. But once it's gone, it's gone. We can't show it to you anymore. So this is your...
I don't have another one in my pocket.
You don't? Are you sure?
I do not
Did
have
you check?
another one in my pocket.
All right. Well, Evan, Robin, anything else you wanted to
No, I think
plug
we're good.
away here? All right. Breck, I want to thank you so much for taking time
Thanks,
to
Mike.
come and talk with us and share your amazing army with everybody. I mean, it's so cool to see so many of these pieces and so many of these conversions that were done back in the day. So this is how we've always been. This is how we've always done things. So yeah, hacking up your models and making cool stuff has been part of Orkidom since the beginning, has been encouraged since the beginning. And it's really cool to know that even though this collection and this army is getting broken up, that it's going to have the chance to live on with a bunch of you in your collections. And who knows, maybe I'll even get lucky enough to be the high bidder on some of these things myself, and you'll still see it here on the channel. But yeah, amazing orcs. They've totally conquered the planet they were on. They are off in their Space Hulk, which will get blasted by the warp, and they'll all land in different planets and see what happens from there. All right, guys, thank you everybody so much for watching on the live stream. We will save the live stream so that you can come back and watch it later at any time. It does lose the chat when that happens, unfortunately, but then you can add new comments from there. All of the winners will be posted on Discord. I will try to get to that tonight. I've got everybody here on my magical list. I will get with you to get your addresses and get your winnings out to you. And then again, we'll be launching that next contest very, very soon for Squigtember. And yeah, that's what we've got for you today. I think it was a ton of fun. It was a blast having everybody on here. I've been looking forward to doing this army ever since I saw the first models come out of the box. It was like, whoa. In fact, the first thing was the Grot rockets, and I was like, whoa, Grot rockets, whoa, what else is in here? And somehow it got crazier and bigger than that as the boxes went on. So yeah, super, super awesome. Again, thanks again, Breck. Thanks again to Evan and Robin and the whole crew here at Mindtaker for hosting us here on the live stream here on a Monday night. So to end the videos, there's always the same thing that we do. And it's kind of how we start the videos. And that's still, one on! All right, everybody. Catch you next time.